Well now, hello there. Come closer, don't be shy. Before we begin our journey into the fog of history, I have a small request for you. If you find our little exploration compelling, do me a favor, like this story. Share it with a friend and subscribe to the channel. It helps these tales find their way out of the darkness and into the light. Think of it as leaving a breadcrumb for others. We are about to step back in time to a moment of profound shock and sorrow. The date is April 14th, 1865. A name you think you know, John Wilkes Booth. Most believe they know his story, but what if the story we've been told is not the whole story? Stay with me. Some of the most startling secrets we will only uncover at the very end. To understand the assassin, we must first understand the man. John Wilkes Booth was a star. Born into a famous theatrical family, the stage was his birthright. He was handsome, athletic, a matinee idol who could fill a theatre. Critics praised him, women swooned. He earned what would be millions today and lived a life of celebrity. But a darker passion burned within. Devotion to the Southern cause. Zealotry that became obsession. He saw Lincoln as a tyrant. That grandiose vision, theatre and fanaticism fused, consumed him. A man rehearsing a role he would soon play in real life. He attended Lincoln's second inauguration on March 4, 1865. Later he said he had a perfect chance. Proximity to power became a dangerous mix. He turned to his companion and vowed, "That is the last speech he will ever make." If the Confederacy couldn't be saved on the battlefield, maybe it could be avenged on the public stage. The plan shifted from kidnapping the president to a far darker, deadly objective. He would not just remove Lincoln, he aimed to decapitate the Union government. John Wilkes Booth's identity was deeply intertwined with his Southern sympathies. He smuggled medicine, attended secret anti-Union meetings. He felt a moral crusade. The fall of Richmond and Lee's surrender crushed him. Desperation deepened into resolve. His fame gave him access in Washington. He moved through social circles with ease, a celebrity who could reach the halls of power. The idea of striking at the heart of the Union government grew more concrete. He became a conspirator. The hub was Mary Surratt's boarding house, whispering meetings masked by mundane life. Was she a willing participant or a woman caught in a web? Historians still debate. Pieces were moving into place. On April 14th, Booth learned Lincoln would be at Ford's Theatre for Our American Cousin. It was the perfect opportunity. He knew the theatre intimately, its secret passages, its rhythms. He had rehearsed this in his mind. He finalized the plan, assigning targets, a small band of men poised to change the course of a nation. Booth did not act alone. There was David Herrill, George Atzerodt, Lewis Powell, drifters and malcontents who became the cast of his real-life drama. The original plan: kidnap Lincoln and spirit him to Richmond. But as the Confederacy collapsed, the plot hardened into assassination. Booth envisioned decapitating the Union government, a coordinated strike to unleash chaos. Mary Surratt's boarding house was the hub. Her role has divided historians: den mother or unwitting shelter. April 14th approached. They stalked the president, learned his habits, and prepared an ambush. Booth, intimate with the theatre, moved like a ghost through its corridors. He waited for a specific laugh to mask the shot. The evening of April 14th was cool and clear. Inside Ford's Theatre, the mood was celebratory. President Lincoln and the First Lady were in attendance. Booth arrived around 10 o'clock. He waited for a line that would elicit a huge laugh, a wave of sound to mask the crack of a pistol. At that exact moment, Booth slipped into the unguarded presidential box. He raised a single-shot .44 Derringer aimed at the back of the president's head and fired. The box filled with smoke. Major Henry Rathbone lunged and was slashed. Booth leapt to the stage. His spur caught. He shattered his leg. He stood wounded, raised a bloody dagger and shouted, "Sic semper tyrannis!" Some thought it part of the play. Horror quickly replaced confusion. Screams erupted. The assassin limped toward the back entrance and vanished into the night. The nation's greatest actor had just committed the nation's greatest crime. But would he escape? His meticulously planned flight was underway as soldiers and citizens reeled in shock. In the chaos, Booth vanished. He limped out the back, mounted a waiting horse, and galloped away into Washington's dark streets. His first stop, the Navy Yard Bridge, the main exit from the city into southern Maryland. Booth met David Herold. They reached the Surratt Tavern near midnight to collect weapons and supplies stashed earlier. Their next stop, Dr. Samuel Mudd's house near Bryantown. They arrived pre-dawn. Booth's broken leg demanded treatment. Mudd set the fracture and later claimed not to have recognized the famous actor, a claim that would later cast suspicion. As Booth and Herold rested, the nation awoke to horror. A $100,000 reward was posted. Friends became suspects. Every whisper on the wind could betray them. A vast manhunt began. Thousands of soldiers, detectives, and volunteers fanned out, following leads that would take them through marshes and pine thickets. For 12 days, Booth and Herold were phantoms, moving through backwoods, tidal marshes, and across the Potomac under cover of darkness. They hid in dense pine thickets and relied on a network of Southern sympathizers for food, shelter, and information. At one point, they were nearly discovered by Union cavalry, a heart-stopping close call. Booth kept a diary. He wrote of disappointment that his act was condemned as murder, not hailed as heroic. He felt abandoned. Led by Secretary Stanton, thousands combed the countryside. Detectives chased every lead, however small. Sightings flooded papers, from Canada to the Deep South, most false. The fugitive's luck was running out. Booth's broken leg was agony, supplies dwindled, the reward made helpers fearful. The trail led to the Garrett farm near Port Royal, Virginia, where an informant reported 2 men, one with a broken leg. Soldiers surrounded the property. On April 26th, they found Booth and Herold hiding in a tobacco barn. The net had closed. Inside the barn, Booth remained defiant, armed and dangerous. Soldiers negotiated. He postured and tried to buy time. He negotiated through the slats. He declared he would not be taken alive. Soldiers, unwilling to storm the barn, set straw and hay alight to smoke him out. Flames licked the walls. Through the slats, they saw Booth's silhouette. As the blaze engulfed the barn, a single shot rang out. Booth crumpled. Sergeant Boston Corbett later claimed he fired the fatal shot to prevent Booth from firing on soldiers. They dragged the dying man onto the Garrett porch. He lay conscious but paralyzed, whispered to the doctor, "Tell my mother I die for my country." He looked at his useless hands and said, "Useless, useless." At about 7 o'clock on April 26th, he was pronounced dead. But questions remained. Was the man on the porch truly John Wilkes Booth? The official story concludes at Garrett's farm. A body identified, secretly buried, guarded against becoming a shrine. But secrecy fuels speculation. Whispers began. That the man killed was not Booth, that pages from Booth's diary were torn out, that the government covered up an embarrassing escape. One enduring theory says Booth escaped and lived under aliases, John St. Helen, David E. George, even surfacing in Oklahoma before dying in 1903. A mummified body was displayed as Booth. Doctors in 1931 signed affidavits claiming it matched. Later DNA attempts, blocked by courts, left the question unresolved. Why the secret burial? Why missing pages? Why the conflicting accounts? Layers of time, secrecy and speculation have buried definitive answers. Booth, who craved infamy, left a legacy not only of a terrible crime but of questions that follow his final curtain call. The truth remains tantalizingly out of reach. Some secrets we peel back, some remain buried, but we will keep asking, stay curious. Until next time, keep exploring the unknown and come back for another Mystery of Humanity.